Gardner's is honored to be Lancaster's favorite mattress store 15 years in a row, voted a favorite every year since 2010. Every day of the year we work to be your favorite mattress store, and we earn the right to be a favorite with you, our next customer, with the way we help you wake up happy and find the right fit. And remember, it's not a mattress until you wake up happy on one from Gardner's Mattress & More. Double Deal savings events happening now.
Are you ready?
You're listening to the Bulldog Hour, getting you inside the Wilson football program with weekly game previews, recaps, highlights, and interviews. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffauf.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Bulldog Hour. I am one of your hosts, Joe Mays. Here with me, as always, is my co-host, Justin Raffauf.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
I realized I didn't change the text on there, Justin. I can't. We got to make sure we know what we're talking about, because we are here for episode 13 of the Bulldog Hour's 11th season, and we are recapping Wilson's win versus Hempfield, although it was a tough game.
Yep.
We're going to talk all about that one, and then preview the game against Penn Manor coming up on Friday, October 10th. And that is a big night, a lot going on. It is homecoming.
Yes.
It is Hall of Fame night, and a few people associated with the Wilson football program will be getting inducted to the Wilson Athletics Hall of Fame as well. So a lot going on. I believe it's also pink out.
It is.
So, yeah, just a huge, huge night coming up Friday back at Instashine Car Wash Field at John Gursky Stadium for the Bulldogs' 8th game and penultimate home game. So we will take a look at the Comets and what they'll be bringing to West Lawn. But up first, we want to thank our sponsors here at the show for Season 11, starting with my dad and sister at Mays Sandwich Shop. Check us out at ordermays.com. And you heard the commercial at the start of the program. Jeff Janakovo and Gardner's Mattress & More, gardnersmattressandmore.com, down in Lancaster, PA, near Park City. You can check them out for all of your sleep needs. They are the Lancaster sleep experts, after all.
That's right.
And we will actually...
Best mattress store 15 years in a row.
That's right. And you actually hear from Jeff a little bit later in the program. Not related to Gardner's Mattress & More, but he's here to talk to us a little bit about what the Wilson Football Tradition Club, what we've been up to.
Yet other ways he is involved in helping support Wilson football.
We also want to thank Steve Simons and SNS Mechanical. Check them out at ssfirstmechanical.com right here in Sinking Spring. Thank you to Steve and the SNS Mechanical team for sponsoring the show here in 2025. As well as Eric Weiser, ericweiserhomes.com, local realtor for Berkshire Hathaway Home Sale Realty. I know Eric was watching the flagship network stream of the Hempfield Wilson game on Friday, and we also appreciate him sponsoring us this year on the program. And Mike Drago, MikeDragoSports.com, home of local Berks sports coverage, including every game in the Lancaster-Lebanon League each week. We appreciate Mike and all he's done for us, including sponsoring this program. On top of Mays Sandwich Shop, Gardner's Mattress & More, SNS Mechanical, and Realtor Eric Weiser, we also want to be grateful for sponsorship from the Miller family, Andy Herr, the Challenger family, and our 2 anonymous donors. Now, Justin and I will be back in 1 week's time, Sunday, October 12th, 6:30 to 7:30 in the evening, and we will recap the game against Penn Manor and look ahead to the final regular season road trip against the McCaskey Red Tornado. But that game, as an early reminder, will be played at Lancaster Catholic High School, not at J.P. McCaskey High School, as the Barney Ewell Stadium is undergoing renovations, and they are not playing home games there. They've played a few Saturday games this year. Wilson's game will be on Friday at Lancaster Catholic on October 17th. So just a little heads up for that, but we will drill that into everyone's mind starting next week on the program. All right, Justin, 7 down.
It's wild.
7 regular season games gone.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're at this point. But when you think about, it's October 5th, and we're going. Our next show is on the 12th. We're nearly halfway through the month.
Yeah,
it's just wild.
Every year, man, it just flies by. So this week was a little different for me. I wasn't down on the field for the first time since 2010, when all this kind of started, well before this program, but covering the Bulldogs football team across social media, trying to keep people updated. Started at the end of the 2010 season. I started doing more, especially photos, in 2011, and every game I've been to since, I've done photographs on the sidelines, updated Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. I was doing it, but I was given the opportunity to be part of
one time you were doing pictures from the top of the press box.
That is true. That has happened during COVID, and then a year later during a torrential rainstorm. I was in the booth with you.
Crazy because the same opponent.
Yeah, right. They were both Manheim Township. Yeah, different times of the year.
That rainstorm was wild.
It was, but this time,
yes,
it was different. Yeah, I didn't have my camera with me. I was up in the visitors press box to do the broadcast with Flagship Network with Brandon Faust and BNB Media, and my play-by-play commentator Max Gretzula, which I've worked with Brandon and Max and our buddy Bruce Badgley in the spring at the Reading Raptors games. So when he said he was doing a Wilson game and he would love if I would be able to stop by, I was like, oh yeah, if you need someone to help call the game too. He's like, well, if you're willing to do it, I will take you up on that. And I was like, yeah, why not? It's something I enjoy doing. It was fun in the spring at the Reading Raptors, so I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring and take the opportunity to call the game. It was a lot of fun. I had an entire binder of information to go on. I tried to sprinkle that in throughout the call. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I tried to be even-keeled, level-headed, and incredibly fair.
So I missed an opportunity. I should have pulled it up on my phone and had headphones in and be listening, just so I could text you to give you a hard time while it's going on. But I did not do that. I did not.
Well, I appreciate that.
I thought about if I could have just stomped, because I was pretty much directly over where you guys were.
Everyone,
but yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool experience, and they do a really great job broadcasting the games. So it's fun that Wilson got to play in a game that they were doing, and it kind of pull out all the stops. So
yeah, awesome. I pulled it up here to take a look at Max and me pregame talking about it. It was really cool because I had been talking to Brandon, the producer, and the tech whiz, the man behind all of this stuff that he's been doing around District 3 all season long. And he asked, hey, what can we show here? Who can we spotlight? What can we do? So I was like, I don't have a lot to add for Hempfield, but there's a ton I can give you on Wilson. So I gave him access to all my pictures, and I was like, hey, I've got game film, and as much as it pains me to show Wilson losing, I said, well, something that might be interesting to highlight that the viewers might enjoy is the last time that Hempfield beat Wilson down in Landisville, which was way back in 2005. So, it was good. It was a cool opportunity. I thought it went really well. Obviously we had the medical issue during the game, which paused things for a while. We hope the Hempfield senior athlete Gabe Williams is doing okay.
Yeah, always scary.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, anytime you're talking about back braces and ambulances and things like that, I've heard positive things about it. It was a serious injury.
Yeah.
But I think the long-term prognosis is positive. I think I don't want to get into details. It's not really for us to do. But I know people were wondering and kind of asking, commenting. I was trying to find if Hempfield or any of the newspapers said something, because I didn't want to dive into any specifics.
No, exactly.
But I think everything's going to be okay in the long run. I'm sure his probably football season for this year is done for, but I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
So that's as much as we can give out, but I feel like it was positive prognosis for the future.
Yes, I would agree.
So, yeah, but it was a good time. And because of being on that call, I have highlights from the game, which are the highlights pulled from the video. And Brandon uses, I think he had 6 or 7 cameras at the game.
Yeah, so a ton.
We talk about Wilson Media using 3, and for a school run broadcast, that's phenomenal. And then you have the production companies that do this, and they're trotting out 6, 7 feeds, and it's really amazing. They got end zone cameras, they have press box cameras, they have people down on the field running around with cameras. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So here, as we play some highlights from the game and go through the game, we're going to talk about the positives. But first up, Justin, I think this was a more difficult game than anyone envisioned.
Yeah, I honestly thought going in that I thought Hempfield could give us maybe a little more trouble than what some people thought they might, but I didn't expect it to be a particularly close game. Yeah, I didn't know. Like I thought they would maybe have some success with their like short passing game, just because that. I said short to intermediate, just because that's kind of their theme is those passes, maybe between 5 and 15 yards, and just kind of short things. They usually have like a receiver who's just really good and can
spoiler.
And can get at, yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing there. But that's kind of been their MO, and I was kind of expecting that, so I thought maybe they'd get there, but I didn't really think they would. Stop us. And honestly, early in the game, well, I guess the whole first half. The first half, it was kind of like that. But then later, like the offense, got it going. And honestly, I don't know. At times, I felt like the defense wasn't getting it done, but they also came up with some big plays. And I know we talked about that early in the year of like, yeah, they were giving some things up, but like they also that you don't want to see, but they also made big plays, which is also what you do want to see. Like, and I think there was some of that. I think it was a weird game because that huge delay in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And not to minimize it. We already addressed that like first, the kid's health, hope for nothing but the best for him. But from a purely football standpoint, it was weird. Now it's weird for both teams. Like,
right,
I don't mean like, but I like, it's an emotional thing. It's a draining thing. It's a physical thing because like it wasn't like a couple minute delay. It was long. I did not time it, but I would imagine it felt like it was more longer than half an hour. Like I don't know.
Well, right.
I felt like it was.
Thought off the top of my head, I was like, it was like 20 minutes, right? I think it was close to 40 minutes.
I thought it was closer to 40, but like I don't know, like because I wasn't really paying attention to like. Not something I do when somebody goes down injured. Is like, oh, let me start the stopwatch.
Right? No, obviously not. It's weird because one of those things. Each level, as you go down from professional through college to high school, you get less and less information. Like no one upstairs, including the coaches above us, had any idea what was going on. No, we had no information. And I know Doug went out to check on how he was doing. What's going on a few times, but. It was just the unknown, and there were 2 live broadcasts, and we know people are like, "What's happening? What's happening?" And like you just don't know how much to share, how much to show, because it's such a sensitive topic,
right? Especially before you have any information, like you don't know, you don't want to be putting stuff out there or putting it up there over and over again. Like it's just one of those things where you just want to be careful about what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, before that happened. Wilson had scored by that point, I believe. But first, Wilson got the opening kickoff, drove down the field, and was stopped.
Yes.
In the red zone, close to the goal line, turnover on downs, and that's the way things started. And people weren't feeling too great about that, knowing that this Hempfield team lost to Governor Mifflin earlier this year,
right? And
Wilson, by and large. Did whatever they wanted against the Mustangs just last week.
Right, exactly.
But we talked about going into last week's game and in the recap of the game afterward, in a rivalry game, sometimes those things don't matter. The record doesn't matter. The common opponents don't matter. How good each team is expected to be doesn't matter. And really in a lot of these Section 1 games, they're rivalries too. Now, we're not Hempfield's main rival. That's Manheim Township.
Right.
But it's also interesting that I think Manheim Township also considers Wilson a huge rival too, because we're the 2 teams for the past decade or so that have been more often than not, 95% of the time, winning the section title.
Yeah.
So, but Hempfield and Cedar Crest, I think, like it's the 4 teams. Those 4 teams have been in the rotation over the last few years. We have yet to see Penn Manor, McCaskey, Reading really break into that echelon. But, this was the 52nd meeting between Wilson and Hempfield. There is a lot of history here.
Yep.
Going on the road down to Lanceville, I mean, we've talked about what happened down there 2 years ago and countless other times. I mentioned a few of them on the broadcast of interesting things that have happened in the Wilson-Hempfield series. So while it hasn't been super competitive, it's been one-sided for the Bulldogs. 41-11 after Friday night in the series. Only 11 wins in 50-plus years of the meetings. They are dangerous. And we've talked about, we saw Coach George Ager do it within 3 years of being there.
Yeah.
Beat Wilson and Manheim Township to win the title in 2022.
Right. Yeah, like they've got some of the pieces, like they're still trying to kind of put it all together from like a team aspect.
Right, consistency.
Making that next step. But like this team is, I don't know. It's tough because they've lost to the better teams that they've played, and they beat the not so great teams. But I said to you on the way home, the thing is, there's a bunch of not super strong teams. Like,
right.
So like they could, I know they're sitting at 3 and 4, but like it's not impossible for them to make the playoffs. When I checked earlier,
they made it last year.
Right, they made it last year
at 5 and 5, I think.
And think about it: if you make it as the 10 seed, you're not playing Harrisburg.
No,
or
you're
Central
playing
York
the 7
right
seed.
away. You're playing the 7 seed, and like, do I think they could compete with the bottom half of the 6A bracket right now?
Sure.
Yes. Well, yes, I do. And so like, I think I don't know. I think they're in a spot, and like I thought they played pretty well. Like, credit to them. I feel like they played pretty well. I didn't feel like Wilson played like terrible or even
they didn't play well in the first half. The first half was not good.
The first half was not good, but like I thought they got it together. And overall as a game, I didn't feel like they played like poorly or anything. It's just not as crisp as we would want, and there were more mistakes than we can afford. And the thing is about Hempfield, as opposed to some of the other teams that we've played, Hempfield took advantage. When we made mistakes, they took advantage. Some of the teams and some of the games we've had and potentially will have coming up, some of those things don't get exposed.
Yeah.
But like they did get exposed a little bit on Friday night.
Yeah, well, and we're talking about mistakes, but before we get into the Wilson mistakes, let's check out the first Hempfield mistake that led to the Bulldogs' first touchdown, and that was right after the turnover on downs. Wilson defense forces a 3rd and 7. And, here we go. Listen to the call.
Ethan Harding.
Clean pocket for catch. He's hit as he throws it. It's intercepted.
That is Jaden Carpenter.
And Carpenter looking to go all the way back to the end zone. He stopped inside of the 5. And Carpenter, who had a catch on the first.
So there you go. There is the first mistake from Hempfield that led directly to a Wilson scoring play just a few plays later. And that would be someone familiar with the end zone.
Glover in motion again. Very similar formation. Akings gets the carry, tries the far side, and he gallops his way into the end zone. Wilson is on the scoreboard here tonight on the road.
So Akings gets in for his ninth rushing touchdown of the season.
So there you go. That was the call from Max and myself Friday evening. That was the first score of the game. Preston Oxenrider would kick the PAT, and Wilson would go up 7-0. But that would be all the points that Wilson would score in the first half, believe it or not. Hempfield would score not once but twice and lead at halftime 14-7. So not a great start. I know people were very frustrated by it, but we saw the dangerous Orion Abrams haul in a 41-yard touchdown from Derek Catch, both of which had really, really strong games. Now, I know people will point to Derek Catch ends up throwing 3 interceptions, one of which we already saw. But Catch to Abrams, what was that team? If Catch wasn't doing it with his arm and finding Orion Abrams, he was doing it with his legs, keeping the Bulldogs' offense or defense honest. But just before half, I mean, it's funny. We previewed or we recapped the 2005 game between these teams where Hempfield ended up scoring 56 points, and it was only the fourth time that Wilson had ever surrendered over 50 points in a game. It's only happened one time since. So in 81 seasons, the Bulldogs have only given up over 50 points a handful of times, which is kind of wild.
That's crazy.
To think that many games, over 840 games played, and only 5 times teams have scored 50 or more points. Hempfield was one of them in 2005, and in that game, right before halftime, they scored. And you hear all the time in any sport, especially football and ice hockey, right before intermission, right before halftime, don't let the other team score.
Right.
And that's what Hempfield did. Derek Catch scored on a 4-yard run with about 70 seconds to play before halftime. And after Briscoe kick was good, Wilson got the ball back. They got stymied quickly, and then they were like, hey, we're going to go into halftime and regroup. I know people were frustrated by them maybe not pushing it, but maybe you're going to compound it. What if you made a mistake and all of a sudden it's not a 1-possession game, now it's a 2-possession game?
Right.
I don't blame Coach Doms for playing it very conservative and getting to
right,
halftime.
Because things weren't going your way. It's one thing if you'd been moving the ball and scoring at will, then let's maybe try and take a shot here. Things weren't clicking. Let's get to the halftime. Let's regroup and get on the right page for the second half. Yep, no problem.
So we come out of halftime, and the teams go back and forth. We see penalties throughout. That was
a lot. Yeah,
it was a lot. So there was a ton on Wilson. Let's see if I can pull up the stats from Joe Peterson here. And I know he was keeping me in the loop all game long. Wilson had 13 for 139 yards. Hempfield only had 4 for 51, but we saw in the second half them make 2 big-time penalties that directly led to Wilson keeping the ball and extending a drive or giving them an opportunity to do so. One here late in the third quarter as the Bulldogs were pinned real deep.
Yeah.
I think we started at the 4 after a Hempfield punt. And it looked to, I think we were about to go 3 and out. Mm-hmm. And it was really weird. The ball was incomplete, but when the ball was well past the receiver, the defender still tackled him. Right. So I don't know if he didn't see. I'm guessing he didn't see the ball, and the refs didn't like that he had tackled him. The ball was, I think, had hit the ground before he hit the player. I think it was Jackson Becker who got tackled, and there was a flag for unnecessary roughness, which obviously automatic first down.
Right.
And Wilson kept the ball, and eventually would find their way into the end zone, courtesy of senior running back Ethan Harding.
Is in the backfield to the right of Young. He gets his number called. He dives forward, and he's into the end zone for a Wilson touchdown.
And he is an incredibly tough runner. He seeks out contact. So having that Hempfield defensive front fly through, he wasn't going to just go down. He was going to lower his shoulder and cross that goal line. So Harding puts the Bulldogs within a point here.
Well, it's not A-Kings. It's not.
All right. So Wilson, after the PAT, game tied 14-14. Teams went back and forth a lot in the third quarter, and no one could put it into the end zone until Harding did there to tie the game on Oxen Riders' PAT. And then what we needed to happen, we needed a defensive stop, or better yet, maybe a turnover.
Right.
Or go a step farther and add something else. And it came from the sophomore, Braden Farrell.
Catch remains in the shotgun. P.J. Poole off the field on this play. Catch, clean pocket, fires. It's intercepted.
That's Braden Farrell. Sophomore outside linebacker. He's going to take it to the house. Touchdown Bulldogs, and all of a sudden the momentum has shifted. What a play by the sophomore.
All right, so Braden Farrell with the pick 6. Now, for the 4th time this year, a Wilson linebacker has picked off a pass and scored a touchdown. And I don't think any of our defensive backs have done that yet.
No, and I don't know if it was in. Actually, it might be in the player interview. Coach Wolber brings that up because there's a couple of DBs in the group, and Farrell's there too. He's like, How many pick sixes is that for the linebackers, and how many do the DBs have? Now the DBs have some interceptions. We already saw one tonight. But like, yeah, it's just one of those kind of funny things. But yeah, it was great job. Great job by Ethan Harding getting down there and kind of escorting him. I think there might have been some others there too. Great job of not blocking guys in the back because they kind of caught. Yes. They got in front of them and then like slow down kind of thing. Perfect. Yeah, great job.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, just, and the spark you need. And at that point now, I felt from the broadcast perspective, wow, all of a sudden momentum really has shifted. Bulldogs score on offense. A few plays later, you get a pick six. It looked like things would be.
You felt like, we're back on schedule now.
Right. So the third quarter ends a few plays into the next Hempfield drive. So Hempfield starts with the ball in the fourth quarter. There ends up being a sack, an incompletion, and then Brady Biscoe has to punt it away. Bulldogs get the ball back, and now you're thinking, okay, here maybe is the dagger, right? You just scored 14 unanswered points. Maybe you can tack on a few more. And the Bulldogs end up doing that, but the drive does stall. They have to settle for a field goal attempt. And, well, it was a big night for freshman Preston Oxenrider because not only was he perfect on extra points, he nails his first field goal.
First field goal attempt of the season. So first chance for the ninth grader to put one through the uprights.
Pressure kick here for the freshman. Oxenrider. Clean snap. Kick is up. And it's good.
It is good.
So that is forced to a two-possession game at this point in time with 9:55 to play in the fourth quarter. Wilson 24, Hempfield 14. They'll get the ball back after this.
So there we have it. That was Preston's first field goal attempt of the year.
It was huge because, like I said, it pushed it to a two-possession game. And as the game would play out, that extra 3 points was huge. You know, like making sure that we had it at that two-possession game. It just has a very different feel because you know, like, okay, the momentum and things can shift on any play, but like the lead isn't going to shift on any one play at that moment. You know, so like that, there was a big time kick, pressure kick, and he came through. And now having done that too, it's, you know, you kind of we're good to go now.
Set some nerves aside, you know, no more butterflies to say, look, I've done this. I know I can do it. And he obviously
in a close game in the second half, like, you know, so
yeah, he's attempted mid-30s, close to 40 PATs, and he's done really, really well. I think only 2 so far haven't gone through the uprights. But to have that first one on your belt is huge. Now, obviously, Wilson had to kick off to Hempfield. They only used a minute 7 on the clock on that drive. 6 plays, 38 yards, settled for the field goal. 2-possession lead, feeling pretty good. But Hempfield was ready to say it's not over yet. And they kept going back to Orion Abrams again. They used his legs, but most of the time it was Abrams using his hands, or unfortunately it was Wilson giving them another chance. And that's what happened on this drive. Wilson was ready to have a 3 and out or force. I mean, they started the drive with 9:42 to go. So it might have been a little early to go for it on fourth down, depending on where at the field they were. And they were on their side of the 50, but you're down 2 possessions. So maybe you consider it. We'll never know because Wilson stopped them on 3rd and 6, but got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty to allow them to allow the Hempfield drive to continue. And on the next play, Derek Hatch found Orion Abrams for 34 yards. Inside the Wilson 10, deep into the red zone. And a few plays later, Derek Hatch would find Abrams once again for a touchdown. Abrams, in the first half, was the only Hempfield receiver to catch a ball. 6 passes, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Wilson kept him locked down a bit in the third quarter, but then he exploded once again in the fourth quarter.
And that's the thing, like, you know, it felt like, all right, we'd made the adjustment. We're doing well. We got the momentum. We're going to get maybe a 3 and out, or maybe not 3 and out, but we're going to get the ball back. They had 3rd and long. It's going to be 4th and long. You know, so at least you have a shot at getting the ball back, even if they do go for it. And, you know, made a mistake and give them the first down, and next thing you know, they're knocking on the door and to cut the game back to a 1-possession game. And so, like, all of a sudden, it's like thought momentum had shifted, and it goes the other way.
Just couldn't get the knockout punch. Wilson kept letting him back in the game. That drive for Hempfield only took 2 minutes. Wilson would get the ball back with 7:40 left in the fourth quarter. And they would start spinning their wheels. Their holding penalty, a sack, an incompletion. And then this was one of those, Hempfield made a mistake and gave Wilson an opportunity. So on 3rd and 22 from their own 8-yard line, Mason Young, who had a great game, by the way, kept plays alive, and as we're going to see, made big plays here in the fourth quarter. He completes a pass to Carell Akings, who gained 16 of the 22. Not good enough when you're in your own end zone. You're not going to go for it on 4th and 6, but by 3.
Still deep in our own territory, too.
But on the tackle, the Hempfield defender, it's listed here as a face mask, but I'm pretty sure it was a horse collar tackle that he got called for. I couldn't see through the kids on the sideline because it was right on the Wilson sideline where the tackle was made. Unfortunately for Hempfield,
the stats program is old enough. Horse collar may not exist.
You're probably right about that. So instead of facing 4th and 6 from their own 24, Wilson got a 1st and 10 from the 38. Now a couple plays failed to really get much, and Wilson faced 3rd and 11. But things went pretty good for Wilson on this 3rd and 11 play. Let's watch it.
Young goes back to pass on 3rd and 11. Clean rusher. He's pressured. He fires. He's got his receiver.
And it's Jaden Carpenter.
And it's Carpenter who goes down the middle of the field trying to push the gas pedal, and he does to the floor. Touchdown, Wilson.
And that is what Jaden Carpenter can do for you. He's an immense athlete, one of the best in the States in track and field. Fantastic sprinter. He takes that nice pass, a lot of patience from Mason Young, gets it to Carpenter, slips the tackle, splits the defenders, and there are not too many people that are going to be able to catch him on a football field.
Yeah, you had Young, who knew he was feeling that pressure from the right side, stayed in the pocket, and he took a shot, but it was worth it. And it's 6 points for Wilson.
63-yard touchdown score, Young to Carpenter.
So there you go.
Yeah, and you nailed it there. I'm like, man, you get Carp out in space, and there aren't too many guys that are going to track him down.
No.
It's just not happening.
No. And
he's so fast.
I mean, I don't want to say, when I say triple covered, I don't mean he shouldn't have thrown that ball.
No.
It was distance between all three. Carpenter hit the seam where they were, and Mason put it right on him.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic pass, fantastic execution, and when they needed it. I mean, they had done nothing. They got lucky that there was a penalty on Hempfield. Right. And then we're facing, once again, third and long.
What did we talk about earlier? I mentioned that, Hempfield was good enough to make us pay for our mistakes, right? Well, it feels good to do it the other way, right? Like when Hempfield made a mistake, and now we have to make him pay, and we were able to do that, and that was huge.
So Preston put the extra point through the uprights. Bulldogs lead 31-21. They went 80 plays in less than 2 minutes, obviously 63 of it coming on the Carpenter touchdown. Now, Eli kicked off back to Hempfield. Their drive would start at 5:30 to play in the game, so we're under 6 minutes. We're halfway through the fourth quarter. But once again, Derek Catch, Orion Abrams, and, of course, Wilson penalties would aid in a Hempfield drive. They would start after another good return on a kickoff. They started on their own 46, a little bit soft kickoff coverage from the Bulldogs. Hempfield starts on their 46 within a couple plays because of a penalty. They're inside the Wilson 37 down to the 32, and then Matt Talbot capitalizes with a short rushing touchdown. And just a minute 45 after Wilson went back up by 2 possessions, the Black Knights cut it to a field goal game, make it 31-28 Wilson.
Right. So you're right back at that one possession game. Again, looking back, how big is that field goal? It's huge. And now you're like, all right, well, let's use up 2.5 minutes here. That's my thing. Let's just end this game. Let's get out of here, get on the bus, go home. Wilson did a little bit better than that. But yeah, it was, they were able to seize control here and essentially ice the game. Yeah.
And, Bisco kicked off 60 yards, got the touchback. Bulldogs have to start at the 20. Mason Young used his legs here. He was under pressure a bunch. He rushed for 10 yards and a first down combined on first and second down. Glover got the ball for a couple yards. Hempfield starts using their timeouts. They stop Greer on a rush. Hempfield takes another timeout. So on 3rd and 8 from their own 32, facing do or die, Wilson has to convert here. They're going to have to punt the ball back and give Hempfield an opportunity to at minimum tie the game, and they have a great kicker. They could have done it, or even go for the win. But thankfully, Mason Young and Eli Dean had other ideas.
Young in the shotgun. Let's see what the play call is for Coach Doms on 3rd and 8. Young goes back to pass. Not pressured yet. Now he's flushed. Still on his feet. Dances in the backfield. It's dangerous. He comes back the other way. All across his body. It's caught on the far sideline.
And that's Eli Dean. You know, I'm sure he was frustrated earlier in the game. He thought he dropped what might have been a touchdown. But Mason Young using his feet, keeping the play alive. Eli Dean pulls down the catch. First down, Bulldogs.
A video game-like move.
Yeah,
Mason Young in the late stages of the fourth quarter.
So you
Not
hear
the first time we've seen that.
No.
Either.
So you hear Max on the call. Love it. Great. Again, a lot of patience, downfield vision from Mason Young, and Eli Dean making the catch where he needed to, make a guy miss, getting some extra yards, and that essentially sealed it right there. There was still time for Hempfield to call another timeout. They had one left, so the Bulldogs needed to do a little bit more work, but that felt like the nail in the coffin right there. The 31-yard pass from Mason Young to Eli Dean. Ethan Harding would rush for 6 yards, and then finally, what allowed everyone to exhale happened right after that Harding rush, and this one would come from the junior running back, Monty Greer.
Young in the gun. Hands to his tailback. It's Greer. Explodes through the line of scrimmage and will go the distance.
And that
Greer puts the lights out tonight on the road.
So there's your exclamation point. Monty Greer, when Wilson needed it, they made some big plays. Mason Young buying times with his feet. Eli Dean with a huge catch. Ethan Harding getting some tough rushing yards. And then Monty Greer getting to the end zone for the second time on the ground this season.
So that was pretty much the end of it right there. So Bulldogs get away, get out of Atlantisville with the win, 38-28 over Hempfield, and a hard-fought victory down at halftime. Had to come back, only the second time this season, down at half. I don't think anyone was really expecting it to be this hard, knowing some of the results, but this is, hey, this is why they play the games, right? This is why you don't win on paper. This is why wins aren't handed out. You've got to prove it. And Hempfield gave Wilson everything they could. And it boggles my mind, honestly, that Hempfield lost to Mifflin. And I know Mifflin blocked a field goal at the end of the game, but still, I feel like if these teams met in a 7-game series on a neutral field, Hempfield's winning 5 times, 6 times.
Yeah,
I did not see a lot to like from Mifflin last week.
No,
I thought Hempfield put a lot out there.
Yeah,
their effort and talent I thought was much better than Mifflin.
Well, and give credit to Hempfield and Coach Ager for they're sitting at 3-4 right now, but still 3 games left, and they've already played us. And
they played Township. Yep.
Now they've got a tough one this week. They play Exeter.
Yeah.
That could be a tough matchup for them. But I think they would still have a shot in their last 2 games. I'm guessing, depending on who they've got left here. One of those might be Cedar Crest.
It's Cedar Crest and Reading. So they have Exeter this Friday at home, followed by Cedar Crest at home, and then they go to Reading. They'll beat Reading.
3 home games in a row for them.
Right, with us being the first one.
Right.
But and not easy, though. Wilson, Exeter, Cedar Crest.
Yeah.
Now, that Cedar Crest game is very interesting to me. I would like to know who is the third best team in Section 1. Yeah. Is it Hempfield or is it Cedar Crest? Now, Hempfield gets them at home.
Right.
So we'll see. That's very, very interesting.
Contrasting styles there, too. Is Cedar Crest going to be able to slow down the passing game of Hempfield? And is Hempfield going to be able to slow down the rushing attack of
with Isaiah Zimmerman?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that one's happening when the Bulldogs play at Lancaster Catholic against McCaskey on October 17th. That'll be Cedar Crest at Hempfield. So that one's very interesting to me. So a lot of highlights for the Bulldogs, especially in the second half. The stats, honestly, Justin, are pretty good. Wilson outgained Hempfield. The one that stands out is initially time of possession was really bad in the first half. Hempfield had the ball a lot. It got even more even as the game went on. But penalties, we talked about 13 penalties, over 130 yards on Wilson. And I know some of them were ticky-tack or downright terrible. Right. I get that. I wasn't going to say it on the broadcast, but there were a few questionable calls. But hey, if you know that they're calling you that often,
Right.
you got to adjust.
Right. Well, and just for transparency, I know there were things that were clear-cut infractions against us that didn't get called.
Right. Yeah, and you messaged me about that a few times.
And so, like, it's one of those things where, like you said, you've got to adjust. That happens, and it was happening both ways. Maybe not at the same frequency, but like it was happening to both teams. You have to adjust, and you have to put yourself in a position where it doesn't matter.
Right.
Put yourself in a position that, like, you need to control all the little things. Will it still happen some? Maybe. But, like, you can control a lot of it, and you need to control every bit of that so that you don't put yourself in a position for those outside factors to influence plays and games.
So just to finish up our Hempfield discussion here, I know the Friday night on Flagship Network broadcast gave player of game honors to Jaden Carpenter, and obviously very much deserving. Had one of the plays of the game, that 63-yard touchdown sprint, and honestly, he was the one that was
an interception.
Well, he had the interception too. 2 huge plays, offense deep, got the scoring started, led to the start of the scoring for Wilson, and then put a nice drive together and capped one where Wilson had been struggling up to that point in the second half. And I know one of those pass interference penalties on him, you and multiple people have said that the defender wasn't even he wasn't even close to the receiver,
No.
and he threw a flag, and that was the one where the ref was saying he pulled his jersey.
Right, and I'm telling you, I watched.
He was not yards
from a better angle than I had.
No, he did not.
There is clear daylight between him.
So,
yeah,
who knows what was being seen? Again, I go back to 2 years ago in the same situation with the relentless amount of penalties being called throughout the game. And I've said it on the broadcast about how they took 5 minutes to throw a flag after a Wilson interception and gave the ball back to Hempfield, which still is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in high school football officiating. But like you said, you have to adapt, you have to play through, you have to overcome. And Wilson did, thankfully. But Jaden Carpenter had a fantastic game. He's been spotlighted by us a few times. We did it on the broadcast. We showcased him leading into the game. But Justin and I are going a different direction than the broadcast, and I think this is the one that really turned the tide back in Wilson's favor. And on the broadcast, we gave this the play of the game, but the Bulldog Hour is going to make him our player of the game, and that is sophomore outside linebacker Braden Farrell for his pick 6. Right after Ethan Harding evened the score 14-14, a few plays later, Farrell intercepted the catch pass and went 42 yards back for the score, putting Wilson ahead for good. It would require a few more scores for that to happen with a 28 final, but yeah, the 42-yard interception by the sophomore outside linebacker Braden Farrell leads to him getting our player of the game honor. So congratulations to Braden. Congratulations to the Wilson team for the victory. And, well, Justin, I was not down on the field with you. However, you did get to catch up with a few of the players and interview them. So we are going to take the opportunity right now to give that a listen. So let's listen to. Do you remember who you talked to? I know Monty was there. Farrell was there.
And I got Jaden.
Jaden was there.
And Eli hops in.
Okay, and Eli hops in. All right, so we got three and then 4 Bulldogs to talk to after the Game 7 win at Hempfield.
All right, guys, we are here after Wilson's victory against Hempfield tonight. Game was a wacky one. Guys, walk me through, how do you keep your head in the game with that unfortunate injury in the first quarter to the Hempfield player? Like, how do you stay on your game? How do you stay ready for everything?
Honestly, when that happened, everybody just kind of shut down, but then we all just came together and just, we were praying for him and just hoping he's better.
Okay.
Yeah, we came back and we warmed up and stuff, and I think the biggest part of this game was at halftime. At halftime, we were obviously down, so it wasn't a good look, but the coaches talked to us. We realized that we were pointing fingers at each other and just had to stop that, and then just come back at half and win. and we talked about not doing the game plan, not running it right. So, after the half, coming back to doing that really worked for us.
Okay, yeah, we obviously Monty. Before we get to the defense, Monty got in the end zone there. That was a big touchdown at the end. What did you really see? What did you see on that play?
Well, Coach Steiny and then just said hold the ball with 2 hands, obviously, not fumbling, and then I just saw a hole, so I just took it.
Great. Like you guys mentioned, it was a close game into the second half, and honestly, all the way to the end. Take us through the pick six.
I get in my seat. Eli. There, through.
Well, we got 2 of them. Yeah.
I see it's a pass. I take a drop. I see it slam in. I try to get out a little wider, and the ball came right to me. And made him in. He made him in. Guy to my left, and I was just holding free.
I was also really happy Ethan didn't level the guy right at the end, because I have a feeling it would have gotten called if he did, or if he got close.
I have a question.
Yes.
All right, boys, question. How does the D-backs feel about 4 interceptions for picks by the linebackers and none by the DBs? Pick 6? Pick 6. 4 by linebackers.
Auburns doing good with it. Auburn's doing good. I'm throwing it right to him.
Eli, you had a big interception at the end. You also had a huge catch to essentially set us up to be able to run the clock down. Take us through first the interception, and then take us through what that play was to get the first down.
The interception, Jaden did a good job jamming the number 1 off the line, and then I see number 2 running our corner. I was looking at the quarterback, he stares when he throws, so he was like this, and I see him go like this, and the corner was open. I just ran through it, took the ball. Surprised they didn't call a flag or something.
Oh my! No!
That's right.
Yeah, that flag. Caught it. I was about to go score, and they was like, "No, go down." I was like, "All right, go down."
All right.
The 3rd down. Great back shoulder ball. Caught the ball, got the first down.
Give us the breakdown, right? Yeah, you're yapping.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
First down,
All right.
I was feeling myself. I had a bad drop in the beginning, but I made up for it at the end.
It's all right. Great job, guys. Way to battle. Not every game goes how you expect, but that was way to battle, way to stay with it and make plays. It's all right. We get better every week, all right? Congratulations on the win. I believe that gets us to 6 wins on the season, so we keep that streak going. So congratulations, and we'll get back to work for next week. Thank you.
All right. So, first, sorry about the audio quality there. The band in the background makes it really, really difficult.
Right, and because we play there for homecoming every other year,
Right.
the band's always playing afterwards, which, listen, they sound great.
The band sounds good. You sound so good that it's hard for us to record the interview. But thank you for doing that, though. I appreciate you.
I also
jumping
have
in.
a new respect. Normally I'm just standing there holding the phone recording. Having to do that, which is not the most difficult job, by the way. But doing that and trying to think of the questions while you're there, it's tough. So kudos to you for doing that every week.
Well, and we had the video skip there a little, and then we did selectively mute it there briefly because we didn't want some trade secrets getting out there.
Right,
so we wanted to make sure that everything was kosher with the coaching staff. So if it did drop out for 10, 15 seconds, that was by design.
Right.
I can't say that every time, but this time I can. So so Hempfield victory down in Landisville. Bulldogs moved to 6-1. Started sluggish. Ended tight. Hempfield gave everything they could to the Bulldogs. Still came out on top. Return home this week for Penn Manor. But, congratulations to the players and coaching staff for that win. And, Justin, that win assures Wilson once again of not only a non-losing season, 62 consecutive seasons, but also a 50th straight winning season, which is tops in the state, and it's got to be up there in the national records. I don't have that information. I do, however, have the shirt that says 50 straight winning seasons, and Well, there's an opportunity for you to all join not only me, but Justin, who's also got the other shirt. So this one actually comes from a few years ago.
Yeah.
This is the celebration of the program's 600th victory back in 2023. That actually happened at McCaskey, the last time we would have been at Barney Ewell Stadium, which it lists on the T-shirt. And you can get your own 600th win tee and 50 straight winning season shirt. Let's see if I can get the whole thing up there. And this is through the Tradition Club. Yeah, look at it. Look at us, not looking like losers at all. So the Wilson Football Tradition Club is running.
Well, we may be losers, but the shirts are about winning.
And Wilson Football are a bunch of winners. So the Tradition Club is running a sale through promoplace.com. The website is listed if you're watching us live right now. It's up on your screens. I have pictures of hats that are also available. However, the shirts that Justin and I have on right now are also at the link, and I have the QR code. You can just scan that with your phone, and I'll be posting the link online, if not tonight, certainly first thing tomorrow, because the store is only open for a week. So you can only buy these tees to celebrate the history and tradition of the football program. 50 straight winning seasons tee right here, the red one, and the gray one that Justin is on, celebrating the 600th win in program history back in 2023. And they're really nice. They're comfort colors tees. They're heather. They're not the starchy tough
they're
stuff.
Really nice.
They're really nice. The screen printing is excellent.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to have these, and hats off to members of the Wilson Football Tradition Club, mostly Jeff Janakovo, for spearheading this and getting this done. And you actually caught up with him and got to talk to him about them on Friday.
I did.
So let's take a listen to your interview with Jeff from the Wilson Football Tradition Club and our sponsor from Gardner's Mattress and More about these offerings, this limited time spirit wear sale.
All right, we are here with Jeff representing the Wilson Football Tradition Club, and he has a quick message for us.
Yeah, hey, Wilson Bulldogs football fans. You obviously know the streak is 62 seasons in a row of non-losing seasons, but with this win tonight, Wilson Football Tradition Club is proud to present 50 seasons in a row of winning football seasons, 6 wins or more. We're going to open the shopping cart link for you to join in the celebration. If you've been a part of any of those teams in the streak or since 76 of winning seasons, this shirt is for you. And we even got a bonus because Wilson Football Tradition Club is all volunteers. This piece of history didn't get out when it was done, but the 600th win a few years back at McCaskey, we've got a shirt for that, a couple hats, one representing Coach Dom's tenure here with Wilson program is also in the cart. Use the link with this video. Thank you for supporting Wilson Bulldogs football. Go Dogs forever.
All right. Well, thank you, Justin, for recording that with Jeff, and thank you so much to Jeff for getting this done and getting this Spiritwear store up and running. I will post a link momentarily. Again, I'll quick throw up the sale that lists shows the hats and in addition to the shirts that Justin and I are wearing. You can scan that QR code right now on your screen if you'd like to go and buy any of these items on the Tradition Club Spiritwear store. Again, promoplace.com/Wilson Football Tradition Club will get you there, or the QR code, or just wait a little bit longer and it'll be up on the website.
Right, and it's a great way to, one, show your support, literally be able to wear your support, but also, like, it helps the Tradition Club, which in turn just helps Wilson football.
Right.
It's all going for causes that if you made it to this point in the show, I'm sure you support.
Right. Yes, exactly. We're almost an hour in. We haven't even previewed the Penn Manor game yet, but we're just talking about our love for Wilson football. So help us out. Buy Spiritwear from the Tradition Club store, and especially celebrate 50 straight winning seasons, which I know WFTC President Barry Aiello is all about, and I'm sure you'll see him sporting this tee and his hat honoring Coach Doms at football games really, really soon. So, again, scan that QR code or head to the link, and I will post that shortly if you'd like to wait until it's up on the Wilson Football social media pages. All right, last thing, Justin, a real quick preview of the Penn Manor game. Not a lot to say about the Comets. They are very much struggling. It
Yeah,
has been a tough year for them.
They did get a win this week against Littlestown. Littlestown is a decent
They're
team,
a little town.
but they are a 3A school.
Yep.
You know,
Penn Manor won that one 39-6. It's their second win of the season. Their only other win came against Reading.
I'm trying to think. What are some of the 3A Burke schools? Like, I'm just trying to think of some of the, like, to give people a comparison of like the size of school, but it's a much smaller school. Yeah, Penn Manor has been struggling mightily.
Well, I mean, I guess technically why I'm missing is supposed to be a 3A school.
You're right.
They're just playing up in 4A.
Yeah. So you see
Kutztown's a 3A school.
Right. So Penn Manor did get a win on Thursday.
Yeah, they played early.
They do have the extra day.
They do.
It's at Wilson, so no Sugar Bowl trip.
No, I know. Disappointing for sure.
However, not to the same degree as Hempfield, but based on what we've seen so far this year. However, you can't take anyone lightly. You have to go out. You have to handle your business. Do what you're supposed to do. Get better this week. Like we saw, there's plenty to work on still. Like it's not as though we've cleaned everything up and we're firing on all cylinders 100% of the time. No, there are certainly glimpses of it. And honestly, there are glimpses of it for more than there were at other times in the season. So and that's okay. Like that's good because, and I said this earlier to you in mid-September, and I'm going to say it again here early in October. It's not time to peak yet.
Right.
We don't want to peak yet. However, we want to be working towards that peak. And so if we can hit that peak, coming in late October and November, then we're in a good spot. But we're not quite there yet. And that's okay. But much like I mentioned within the single game, we have to do this for the season as well, kind of control the controllables, right? Control the things that you can control, work hard, get a good week of practice, go into this and execute at a high level on Friday night. And I'm confident that we'll be on the outcome that we want. But if you don't, then you leave things up to chance and you never know what will happen.
So Penn Manor, obviously we know they're a 6A team in Section 1. 2-7 last year. They did not play a full 10-game regular season, had issues with scheduling. They had to move on to a new head coach this year. Coach Brubaker, formerly of Van Nuys Central, he was at Penn Manor for 10 years, decided to retire. So they brought in Jordan Clark, who was previously a head coach elsewhere. He has them at 2-5. They started on a 4-game losing streak to start the season. They lost to Conestoga Valley 28-0. They lost at Dallastown 25-7. They lost at home to Solanco 42-14. They lost at Cedar Crest 40-15 before going to Reading and Albright Shirk Stadium, beating the Red Knights 41-8. They lost to Hempfield at the end of September, 34-7. That one was at Penn Manor at Millersville as well. And then you heard Justin say they beat Littlestown on the road on Thursday, October 2nd, 39-6. But again, a 3A school playing against a 6A school. Not a lot of 3A schools are going to be able to go to battle against 6A teams, even if they have been struggling like Penn Manor has for the better part of 10, 12 years.
Right, exactly. So you got to, you take it for what it is, but hey, a win's a win, and you need to make sure you handle your business so that they don't get another one on Friday night.
Yeah, and Wilson's gotta respect the opponent. You can't go in expecting to just push people around and have them not show up. So Penn Manor. Their big-time player on offense is their quarterback, Connor Smee. He's got 64 completions, 57% of his passes, 567 yards so far, 4 touchdowns, but he has thrown 7 interceptions and only has a quarterback rating of 56. Randy Guthrie is their big-time running back. He's 89 attempts for 591 yards, over 6.5 yards per carry, and 7 touchdowns. So he's going to be the guy that they need to stop. They're no longer that run first, run second kind of like veer or option team that we had been accustomed to. They're now, I think, more of a spread, air raid type modern offense. So that's something to pay attention to. So Guthrie, Smee, the quarterback, Guthrie, the running back. Also get carries from Jalen Dupree and Colin Robinson. Dupree has 3 rushing touchdowns on the season, but Jalen Dupree is a bigger receiving threat. He has 22 catches for 248 yards, and a score. He's averaging over 11 yards per catch. Next leading receiver would be Randy Guthrie, also the running back. 20 receptions for 82 yards. So that covers the Penn Manor Comets. Just you know what you're getting from Penn Manor. You know that they're struggling, and we're going to see another struggling team the week after against McCaskey. So get in, do your job, take care of business, and move on. Stay healthy. Don't do anything stupid, and be ready to play, because at this point, you've got to have the expectation that we're going to take care of business against Penn Manor and McCaskey and set up a huge showdown in Week 10 against Manheim Township.
Yep.
All right, Justin, you got anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I just, like you summed it up well. Make sure you handle your business this week in preparation, and then go out and handle your business on Friday night. Homecoming and Athletic Hall of Fame night and all of that good stuff. Pink out. Just handle your business.
Yeah, and a quick show everyone what the link for the Wilson Football Tradition Club sale looks like. You can get those tees and those hats and have some new spirit wear here towards the end of the season. Help out the WFTC and celebrate Wilson's 50 straight winning seasons, the 600th win, Coach Dom's, and just Wilson football in general. Again, I'll have a link posted on social media here soon, or you can one last time, I'll throw up the QR code if anyone would like to scan that before Justin and I get out of here. So I think that wraps it up for us this week. Episode 13 of season 11 of the Bulldog Hour is now in the books. We'll be back in 1 week for all the updates on the Penn Manor game, look ahead to the McCaskey game, and maybe we'll take a gander at the power ratings, and if I have any more information and my predictions, how things have changed since we last did that. But all right, we're getting out of here. So for Justin Raffauf, the entire Wilson football team, my name's Joe Mays. Until next time, remember, go Bulldogs.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Bulldog Hour. Want more Wilson football? Follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. Or visit www.bulldoghour.com. The Bulldog Hour is a featured program on jmnjrradio.com.